Hi, I'm Vernon L. Bowling, and welcome to another edition of Focus. As I hope you know, Focus has been on the air for over 40 years. We've been continuing to bring you, the African American community, problems, accomplishments, as well as successes that we've had within the African American community. Don't touch that remote. Matter of fact, you can get your pencils or papers together and write down some information that we're going to give to you that's going to be very important that you probably can use later. We'll be right back with more Focus after these messages.
We want to share that with our kids, that love for being outdoors, and that's what we're doing. Seeing them run around and pick up a stick and be like, "Look at this, Daddy." They get their little lanterns and they walk around with those and looking at bugs and hearing noises and wondering what everything is. I mean, that's kind of what it's all about. Frankly, I didn't really know that the lottery supports natural preservation, so it's a big plus of playing.
Hi, I'm Calais Campbell of your Arizona Cardinals, and the season is here, so you better be watching. I'm talking about the water safety season, because a drowning can happen in just a few seconds, and we can't afford to lose this game.
That's right, Calais. I'm Phoenix Fire Chief Bob Kahn. The Arizona Cardinals and the Phoenix Fire Department have teamed up to remind you to always watch your kids around water and never swim alone.
Water safety season never ends. Please watch your kids around water.
My husband was deployed in October of 2009.
After he left, everything just felt like it sank.
Just didn't really like life at the time.
The hardest thing was just trying to figure out a new routine.
When you're a military family, things like the arts really are extra here at ASU Gannett. The Arizona Lottery enables 200 military dependents to come to the theater 3 times a year. This is our way of saying thank you, and we can never say thank you enough.
Thanks for joining us at Focus. My name is Fatima Halim, and we are here at the Booker T. Washington Child Development Center, where this is the hub of the upcoming Children's Book Fair. And I'm excited to talk to Nefertari Saladin, who is one of the coordinators of the Children's Book Fair. But later on in the program, we're going to have a young woman whose name is Rachel Igbora, who is the coordinator of The Whole Story. And you may have heard of The Whole Story because they just had this incredible event this past week at the Phoenix Art Museum. So we're going to be talking to these 2 remarkable women, but we're going to start off with the Children's Book Fair and Nefertari Saladin. Nefertari, thank you so much for joining us. So tell me, this is the 3rd year for the book fair here in Phoenix, and I know that Nazla Adine, who is the overall coordinator of this event, has been doing it in Harlem, our hometown, all of our hometown, for the past 8 years.
10 years.
10 years. This is exciting. So she decided to bring it to Phoenix, and I think we did have a story about this, I think, last year. So why Phoenix?
Well, because that's where we live. After relocating from New York City many years ago, I want to say 40, so Nazla was going to New York every summer, and the catalyst for the book fair was the lack of books that she saw in the community for the children that were available to them on an ongoing basis. So when she started the book fair in New York, it was such a success. As a matter of fact, it was just concluded in August 10th through Harlem Week. We participated in that event.
Right. And
So
that's
now,
at the Abraham Lincoln Project,
yes,
at the Lincoln Projects over there on 135th Street and near 5th Avenue.
Yes. So this is the 3rd year for the book fair in Phoenix, Arizona. And we're so excited, and we've been doing it here, and each year our numbers increase and increase. And what we're going to do on November 4th is we're going to have a historic African American book collection event where one can buy books.
By African American authors.
By African American
But now
authors.
I understand that there's a wide array of authors as well, but predominantly African American.
Yes, and we've got many genres: science fiction, historical fiction, novels, entertainment, sports, just books in any and every area.
And here's some of them.
Yes,
we have them
just
surrounding us right now. Asha Bendele, The Prisoner's Wife, which is a really exciting book.
Yes.
So go ahead.
We've got 1,000 books, and anyone interested can go on our website, giftchildrenbooks.org, and they can register. And we're selling bundles of books where they, whoever attends the book fair here.
Now this is the fundraiser.
This is the auction. I'm sorry, not auction. This is the historic book funding event that we're having on November 4th.
Okay.
Here. And individuals can register and buy bundles of books for $60. 10 books for $60.
Oh, that's a giveaway.
It's an excellent giveaway.
And the money is going to be going toward the book fair.
To the book fair, so that we can purchase books for children.
Now, what if somebody wants to donate books? Because I know there are a lot of people who have books in their homes. And I know that last year you were saying, nah, we don't want the books that are coming off your bookshelf.
We take books from homes. We gladly receive them, but we want the first contact that children have with our organization to be one where they receive brand new books, something that will create a desire for reading on an ongoing basis.
Now, why books as opposed to readers or iPads or tablets? Because kids seem like they're going into the virtual world now, and they're going more into tablets than into actual books. So why books?
Well, it could be our personal bias, but growing up, there's nothing better than having a book in your hand, turning pages. And with the situation in the world as it is today, with the electric grid and everything going on and off, if you've got a book, you can read anytime, be it by candlelight, moonlight, however you'd like. If the electricity isn't on, you can't read a book if it's on a Kindle or
when your battery goes out.
Yes.
It's gone.
So
it's gone.
It's our preference, and we think that if children have access to hardcover books, then that might be the catalyst for them to get books on their iPads or whatever.
Now, in terms of children's books and children reading, now your purpose is to start for the child to start a library. Actually. Yes. Isn't that what it is?
One of our goals, our mission, is to create home libraries for children. So when children attend our book fairs, they typically get from 10 to 15 books to take home. And we want them to create a space for these books and discover what kinds of books they'd like to read. At the book fair, we have many different titles available to them, but yes, we want them to start out with 15 books, come to our event every year, but if they go to the grocery store, they go somewhere where there are books on sale, buy a book. Increase your book library.
Now, the fundraiser that you were talking about on November 4th, it's a $60 and you get 10 books.
Yes.
It's pretty much like a donation.
Correct.
But the book fair, the children are getting the books for free.
Yes.
So you'll be giving books away to the kids.
Yes. The event on November 4th is to raise monies for the book fair. The book fair will be at this facility on November 11th.
Okay.
And at that time, parents will be able to bring their children, and each child will be able to receive books that they choose. And we have books for 0 to 18 years old.
And they can take as many books as they want?
As many books as they like.
Right. Now, I have to say this because it's a kind of little bone of contention for me. I remember Nazla telling the story of a woman at the Harlem Book Fair, a woman who came, she didn't even have children, but she started just collecting all of these books. And Nazla looked at her and she said, but you don't have any children with you. But the woman owned a store and she was taking the books so she could sell them at her store. So how do you all safeguard from things like that happening?
The only admittance that you need to come to the book fair is a child or children.
So you could bring 20 children.
If you bring 20 children will get books. If you bring an infant will get books. If you come alone, you will get nothing.
What if you're a teenager?
Teenagers, yes.
They can come, they can get books. Because there will be, what is the age range for the kids' books?
It's 0 to 18.
0 to 18.
Yes.
Y'all are doing an incredible work here. And I know that you said you want the kids to start home libraries. Yes. But What do you think? I mean, I know, for example, I have an iPad, and I used to download books on my iPad. I don't do that anymore because I truly prefer holding a book in my hand. I can catch the page easier than I can on my iPad. I know what page I'm on. And plus there is a certain comfort, as you said. There's a certain comfort that you feel or that you get when you're holding a book.
Yes.
It's like you go right into it. It's a whole nother kind of feeling. How do you get kids to read? I mean, there's one thing for them to come and get the book, there's another thing for them to read.
Well, you know, we believe that if they have the books, they'll read the books. We, at the end of each book fair, or during the book fair, we send out, we pass out evaluation forms, and we ask parents to let us know how they feel. So they typically fill it out good, excellent, excellent, excellent. Well, last year, a gentleman called us, and he said, I'd like to send you guys a letter. And he said his children did not want to come to the book fair at all. It was like pulling teeth for them to get to the book fair. So he brought them, and when he brought them, they got books reluctantly because there was nothing that seemed to interest them. Well, the older child, I think, was like 16, and then they had a younger one that was 9, and then they had like a 12-year-old. The 16-year-old started reading her book, and she didn't put it down. And she was so, oh my God, I can't believe it. Then the 12-year-old book said, let me read your book. And they all, the book is in pieces now. They've read it over and over again. And now they've started a home library.
So it's just about getting the children involved, engaged in reading, and finding some time for them to just sit down at peace and read their book. This is wonderful. I know there are going to be other kinds of things happening at the book fair. And the only way that you'll be able to find out exactly what's going on at the book fair is if you show up. November 4th, there's a fundraiser where you can get 10 books for just $60. I mean, that's like a steal. If you want to sell them, that's on you. But the point is that you've made your donation. And then on the 11th, on November 11th, right here at 1522 East Adams, Booker T. Washington Child Development Center, you can come to the Children's Book Fair. So we look forward to seeing you. And when we come back, we're going to be talking to the founder of The Whole Story. So come back.
We want to share that with our kids, that love for being outdoors, and that's what we're doing. Seeing them run around and pick up a stick and be like, look at this, Daddy. They get their little lanterns and they walk around with those and looking at bugs and hearing noises and wondering what everything is. I mean, that's kind of what it's all about. Frankly, I didn't really know that the lottery supports natural preservation. So it's a big plus of playing.
Hi, I'm Calais Campbell of your Arizona Cardinals, and the season is here, so you better be watching. I'm talking about the water safety season, because a drowning can happen in just a few seconds, and we can't afford to lose this game.
That's right, Calais. I'm Phoenix Fire Chief Bob Kahn. The Arizona Cardinals and the Phoenix Fire Department have teamed up to remind you to always watch your kids around water and never swim alone.
Water safety season never ends. Please watch your kids around water.
My husband was deployed in October of 2009.
After he left, everything just felt like it sank.
Just didn't really like life at the time.
The hardest thing was just trying to figure out a new routine.
When you're a military family, things like the arts really are extra here at ASU Gamage. The Arizona Lottery enables 200 military dependents to come to the theater 3 times a year. This is our way of saying thank you, and we can never say thank you enough.
This past First Friday, I had the honor of participating in The Whole Story, which is a storytelling series that takes place at the Phoenix Art Museum. Well, the young woman who is the curator and the creator of The Whole Story is here with us today. Her name is Rachel Igboro. And Rachel, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And too bad we didn't do this before.
Right?
Right?
I mean, we could have debriefed after.
You know, this is true. But hopefully...
we can debrief now.
Let's debrief.
Okay.
Debrief me. How about that?
Well, I had the opportunity to hear Fatima tell a story at Arizona Storytellers earlier this spring at Phoenix Theater. And after the show, I came up to her and said, can you please be on my show she didn't know anything about it, but she said yes. And on October 6th, last Friday, Fatima shared a story. And what was great about it was the whole story brings 5 people who are from the Black community, everyday people, and we meet twice before the show for 2 hours and work on each other's stories. So it becomes a very communal show because everyone has invested in each other's stories. And so when you're seeing, we become like family. When you see your family on the stage and
it was exciting. It really was exciting. It was like, oh my God, look.
You know, you're all invested in each other. You're not just worried about yourself and nervous. You're just in it all together. And so I just love seeing the storytellers from previous shows connect with current storytellers, and it just becomes a really lovely community.
Now, how long have you been doing this?
We just had our 4th show on Friday. So the whole story, we've had 4 shows, but I've been doing storytelling in Phoenix for the past 5 years.
Now, I told you before, I am so happy that you're doing this because poetry, which I love, has kind of overshone storytelling, and it's both are good, both are wonderful, but it's kind of like the storytellers we were kind of in the corner like the stepchildren, and you and several other people have brought storytelling to the forefront.
Absolutely.
And it's so exciting. Now, why storytelling, Rachel? You're in the millennial category, age category, and the millennials are all into poetry and hip hop. So how did you come into storytelling as opposed to hip hop or rap or?
You know, I don't have enough rhythm to be able to be a rapper. I have tried. My brother will shake his head at my attempts. They're very bad. But I was a podcaster. I listened to The Moth, and
I love The Moth.
I wanted to see what it was like live, so I literally just Googled Storytelling Phoenix. And
well, for those of you who don't know what The Moth is a show on NPR, National Public Radio, and it is just filled with incredible stories, and one of my favorite shows as well. But so you said, I'm going to do storytelling.
No.
You are not a storyteller, Rachel?
I am now.
Oh, okay.
But I had no intention then, like years ago, to ever get on stage. I just wanted to enjoy it, see people share who they were on a stage without notes, and tell personal stories. But slowly I got connected. I attended a storytelling slam, so like a poetry slam, but it's stories, and I ended up winning.
Oh, wow.
And the person that I beat, Dan Hull, he and I actually created a show together called The Storyline. And so slowly learning with him, learning through AZ Storytellers, Megan Finnerty, and Liz Warren, and just connecting to people like that, I just developed a passion. And really storytelling helped me process my own experience and connect to my identity more. And I love seeing that happen for other people. So that's why I started to produce shows and created The Whole Story to expand Black narratives and lift up our community, but also lift up the stories of success and positivity to people who aren't in the community and really see the one-sided story in the media.
So you've had about 20 storytellers. If you've had 4 events, you have 5 per event. So you've had about 20 Black storytellers as opposed to 20 Black poets.
Right.
How did you find
poets?
Poets who are poets are storytellers. Let's be real. Poets are storytellers.
Some need more coaching than others, but they were open to it. Yeah.
But how did you find your storytellers?
It was a mix. For example, I saw you tell a story. I mean, I've heard about you and knew that to have you on the stage would be a big honor and really put the whole story on the map.
No.
Others are comedians, Anwar Newton, who he's been on other storytelling shows, and so asked if he could tell the same story on The Whole Story. Myself, others have been poets like Leah Marche, Melissa Dunmore, who've told on other shows and I've asked to be on my show. But others I've known through church, through work. Dan has also helped recruit people through his own work. Dr. Quentin Boyce is from Phoenix College, and it's actually his boss that he had to be asked to be on the show. So it's slowly getting momentum, and people are coming to me now who've been to the shows and want to tell their stories.
Now, a lot of the people that you mentioned, or some of the people that you mentioned, have never done storytelling before. I know Stella, you saw her, she was on the show with me, and you saw her at a meeting or something.
Well, I was doing a workshop on storytelling with Mountain Park, an hour-long kind of intro to storytelling, and I asked if there was anyone who wanted to share their story, and she shared a version of what she shared last Friday, and
that was her first time.
Yeah.
In a classroom setting.
Yeah, and I said, I need you on my show. And she didn't know, and I shared this Friday, she didn't know what she was getting into at the rehearsals and the size of the crowd, but she persisted and was incredible.
Well, you had a sold-out crowd on Friday. Are all your shows sold out?
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah,
the theater sits 300, so our smallest show had about 200, 250.
And you know, that is the perfect setting for storytelling. I tell everyone I don't like telling stories outside because storytelling is so intimate, and when you tell it outside, it's like your voice, the sound, the whole story becomes dissipated. And I don't like that. I don't like it in huge settings. I mean, now the Phoenix Theater was big enough. I mean, it wasn't too big, but it was a nice size. So I enjoy that. So, and I'm quite sure other storytellers, because storytelling is a very intimate, a very intimate kind of piece. Now, you're starting up again. This was your last storytelling venture for this year.
For 2017.
For 2017. When are you starting up again, and what do we have to expect?
First Friday in January is the next show. I'm still recruiting storytellers, so if there's anyone out there that would want to be on the show, I've got 2 slots left for January. And then we have shows planned for May and September as well.
Okay, storytellers and those who want to tell their story, because we all have a story to tell. Make sure that you connect with Rachel, and her information is right there. You see it. Make sure you connect with her and let her know the story that you want to tell. Now, you just don't, anybody just can't get up there. I mean, you just say, I want to tell a story, and you say, okay. How do you vet?
So I ask people to tell me what they want to talk about. Some people say my relationship with my sister, so then, you know, usually I have a phone call with them and I say, well, give me a scene, tell me a mini story about what you would want to share. Give me an example. And I fill them out that way. Others I meet for coffee and we go from there. So it's kind of arranged, but I have a good sense of who is genuine.
I think that we need to be clear, because you don't want anyone coming with folk tales or other stories that other people have told before, or none of that. It has to be personal, first person, and it has and that's not easy.
No,
it's really not easy.
Yeah, and it's a lot of work. So as long as they're willing to commit to the 2 rehearsals, be at the show, have their pictures taken, take random videos. I'm someone that loves social media, so I do all these random things. Fatima went through a lot. We had a whole photo shoot at the first rehearsal that no one knew about.
It wasn't, because that didn't come cute. It's like, you need to tell people when you're going to take some pictures so they can at least have some makeup on and a cute little outfit or something. You just say, okay, pictures. I'm like, oh, Lord. Lord have mercy. But it was okay. It's okay. It's real. I mean, just like the whole story is about real stories, about real people, then so are the photos.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, it's me. Here I am. So here we go. We are looking at the whole story starting up in January, the first Friday in January at the Phoenix Art Museum, which I really love the fact that they've opened their doors to us like that. That's really a wonderful thing. And what else would you want to tell the people?
Well, I just love the partnership with the Art Museum. They've really taken this idea and run with it. I actually presented it to them to partner with the closing weekend of the Kehinde Wiley exhibit last January. And when I asked if this could be a series, they said, we'll be happy to host you as long as you'll have us. And so I love that the stories, to me, I like calling myself a curator, like, because I'm at an art museum, the stories, the people, it's art, you know, and it puts it on a real great stage for the community, because they promote the event to their constituents, and so the audience is a rainbow, but on stage everyone is black. And what's funny is the irony is that it's hosted in the Whiteman Hall. So
I know.
I just love that.
Every time I walk through that door and I see on top of the doorway, White Man Hall, I'm like, okay, that's pretty ironic. That's pretty ironic. Go in your face. But it's okay because, like you said, they've been great partners, and that's the bottom line. Exactly. And that they've opened their doors, they continue to open their doors. You continue to bring light and love to our community and the stories that need to be told. We need to hear your story. That is so important. So if you have a story to tell, you want to make sure you get in contact with this young woman. Okay, let's curate me out. No, what you used to say, you wanted to vet me. Debrief me out, and we'll just go out from there.
So, well, what did you think of the process with the 2 rehearsals and the phone call?
I thought it was very helpful, to be totally honest, because remember, I kind of rejected you initially. I was like,
said no. She said, I'm too busy.
I was doing so much, and then I realized this is what I prayed for. I asked to do more stories this year, and now here they're coming up, and I'm saying no. I can't say no, and I'm so glad that I didn't stay on with my no. That we continued to do it. It was absolutely wonderful. I loved meeting the other storytellers. I loved you really working me through my story, because that was the first time I ever told that story. So I loved working through that process. It was really good. So it was a good process.
What made the whole story different from other shows that you've been on?
Well, all black storytellers, other storytellers. You know, this was the second time I had to share the stage, which I like, you know, because it takes a lot of the pressure off of you when you can share the stage with others. I liked you. I liked how you handled me. It was just really, really, you did such a wonderful, you're such a beautiful spirit. And you helped to just ease my spirit. So it was a good thing. It was wonderful.
Wonderful to work with you too.
Oh, I totally enjoyed it. So you know, you'll have to come see the whole story the first Friday in January at the Phoenix Art Museum, 7:30. Usually the ticket prices are like $10. And that's like nothing for what you get. So thanks for joining us on Focus, and thank you, Rachel, and thank you, Nefertari, and don't forget the Children's Book Fair on November 11th. November 4th is the fundraiser, and January 1st Friday is the whole story. January 6th, you got a whole lot to do between now and then. So see you then. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for another edition of Focus. And if you'd like to contact us, if there's a topic you'd like to see us present or someone you'd like us to talk to, the information is right up on the screen. We'll see you next week, same station, same time, when Focus continues.